Hello, my name's David. I am from the Port Adelaide Enfield Libraries. I work there as a library officer and STEM specialist. And this activity that we're going to do today is how to make your own super duper bubble mix. Now, I've made sure that I've selected, hopefully, things that you can find still in your home or would be easy enough to get from the supermarket. This mix requires dishwashing liquid. Dawn is really good, or Fairy dishwashing soap if you can get it. They're really good for this kind of bubble making. In this case, I've also got a bit of corn flour, a bit of baking powder, as well as obviously some water as well. I'm also going to show you how to put together one of these. Alright, so this is a really fun bubble blower. So let's start with the bubble mixture. Now, the cool thing about bubbles is you need two things: water and soap. Soap is what we call a surfactant. Now, it has a very special chemical arrangement where it's one end of that soap really loves water, the other end absolutely hates it. And this arrangement allows us, when it's mixed with the water, to actually create a kind of chemical bungee rope between the water molecules. It's also why we use it to clean our hands. The bit that really hates water digs into the dirt, grime on our hands, and the water, as it passes, gets to attach itself to the other end of the soap, and off it comes. Also, soaps are really good at breaking down the protective layers of viruses as well. That's why you need to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. So let's try and work this out together. First thing we're going to do is go over and have a look at the buckets. So I'm going to change over to my other camera. You should be able to see it on screen now. And here we've got a bucket of water and a bowl. Now, in that bucket of water and that bowl, we are going to start to put our mixture. The first thing we need to do is get 6 cups of water. That's it. You've got to get the water. So here's my container. You can see that there. All right, it's a 1 litre container, so it should be 4 cups. Now, I made sure the water is hot water or warm water. All right, and the reason you want to do that is it helps to dissolve the materials that we're going to put in a lot better. So, nearly there. That equals 4 cups. So we'll do that one first. Into the bowl it goes. And I'm just going to add another 2 cups. So make sure when you're at home doing this that you're measuring out as accurately as possible the materials. It's actually really important to make sure you're being as accurate as possible. So there is my other 2 cups, and in it goes there. So that is a nice bowl of just warm water. To this bowl of warm water, we are going to add, some corn flour and some soap. So each one of those is going to be about half a cup. So I've got half a cup here. There you go, there's a half a cup. And to that we are going to add our Dawn soap. So you should be able to see that, make sure I'm in shot. Should be able to see that I've got my cup there, and swapping over so you can actually see it. And in it goes. You don't have to make the sound effects, but they do help. In. Come on, here we go. Beautiful. Okay, so back to the overview. You should be able to see. Here we go. We're pouring it in there. Beautiful. And there's a gentle mix. So just give it a gentle stir. You just want to mix that nicely with the water. All right. And that should be quite good. All right. The next thing we want to do is add the corn flour. Now, the corn flour, what this does is it actually helps with creating a better surface tension. All right. There are sugars inside this that actually allow the bubbles to stretch further and in turn last longer. Now it's going to look a little bit messy. You're going to have to let it sit. The great thing about corn flour as well is it doesn't actually dissolve in the mixture, so it's still there. It's part of a suspension inside that liquid. So we're just going to check. You should be able to see on the other camera there. There we go. Should change over and you see it now. I'm just going to gently stir. You could use corn syrup if you wanted to, but corn powder is absolutely fine. It's going to make it look a bit milky, as you can see here, but it'll still actually be quite good. All right, you can let the sediment afterwards settle to the bottom, and it will actually make a really good mixture. Okay. I'm going to pop that in there. It's a little bit messy, but that's the whole point of science, isn't it? To make a mess. So, the last bit you want to add is this, which is our baking powder. Alright, so I've got it here in my container. Some baking powder, you can see that there. We're going to take the baking powder and we're going to put 1 tablespoon of baking powder in that mix and give it another gentle stir. Okay, so let it mix in. It will get rid of most of those bubbles there. Okay, it'll actually help make sure that you don't get too many bubbles, and it balances out the pH level inside the water as well. So this is our bowl. It looks a bit weird at the moment, but actually it makes for really good bubbles. So let's dip that in. We'll pull it out. You might be able to see some of the materials there. I'm going to blow a bubble. Hopefully, if I do it towards camera, you'll be able to see it. We'll try that again. And that lasts for quite a while. Alright, so you can make really nice bubble mixtures out of this. Alright, just with a bit of Dawn, some corn flour, water, and a little bit of baking powder. Now if you want to, you could add a little bit of glycerin as well, about a tablespoon of glycerin. In this case, I don't see the point. It's much of a muchness. So we've got that there. Now, we're going to use that to make our bubble wand. So, how do you make the bubble wand? The first thing you need, alright, is one of these. Alright, this is a Chuck's cloth. Alright, that Chuck's cloth, basically you fold it over a couple of times. Some of them come like this, or if they come in the square, that's fine. Just make sure you fold it over enough. That shape or size has to be able to fit the cup. Alright, so it goes over the cup like that. I have, and should have, a downloadable worksheet or instruction sheet that you can actually follow along and make it again yourself afterwards. So, got our chucks, got our cup. With your cup, take a pen and actually poke a hole into the cup. So push it through into the cup, about the right size for a straw. Okay, so take your straw and you pop it in your hole that you've just made, right, and it should sit in there quite nicely. All right, if it's a little bit big, that's okay. All right, if it's a bit small, make it a bit bigger. Now that that's in there, we take our Chuck's cloth and we put it on top, and this is where you're going to need a rubber band. So, take your rubber band and put it over the top of your cup. The main point about this is to make sure that it seals around the top of your cup. Okay, so make sure it seals nice and tight around the top of the cup. Play with it until it's all covered up. If you have to, you might take the rubber band and put it round twice. Okay, just to make sure it's nice and tight. In this case, I'm going to do it twice. Alright, depends on the size of your rubber band. Make sure you try to get the rubber band about the right size for your cup. Oh, this one's just sort of misbehaving a little bit at the moment. I might have made it a bit too narrow, so I'm going to just widen it a little bit. That's fine. There we go, that's much better. And again, just put your cup like that. Oops. On top. I hope you're all justifiably mocking me at home for how hard it is to get this on the cup, but you'll find that it's a little bit difficult when you go to do it as well. So just be mindful of that when you do it. Okay, so now that I've got all of that done, I should be able to put my straw back in my hole. There it is. And there is your, what I like to call, bubble sculpting wand. Okay, so let's get some of our mixture. I'm going to go get a cupful of it, as you can see. I'm going to put it over here in my tray. So it's quite milky, and that's okay. But what you should find now is that when you take your bubble wand and you dip it in, you soak up the bubble juice, alright, and you should be able to blow it in a very fine foam. Remember to blow, but not suck, because you don't want a mouthful of the bubble juice. Woo! And as you can see, it's really quite a lovely dense foam that you get to create, and from that you can start to sculpt and make whatever you like with it. Alright, so you can play around with that for hours. You can add more bubbles, as you see fit. You might, and I do say might, want to wear a pair of these if you've got them around the place. Sometimes when you're up close and you're using bubble juice in these ways, if it gets in your eye, it's gonna hurt, so sometimes it's good to put on a pair of safety glasses. In this case, I'm pretty familiar with them. I know what they do. I'm okay if I get a little bit in my eye, I know how to fix it. But in your case, make sure you wear the appropriate protection that you need to. Appropriate smock, the appropriate things. Alright, so one last thing before you go, just want to ask one question. Have you ever noticed that bubbles take on that ball shape? Why do they take on that shape? Not sure? What if I got one of these? Will it take on a round shape? Or will it take on a star shape? What do you think? Tell me. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, some people might think it's a star shape, but let's see. We'll test. Oh, it's a ball shape, just like before. So it doesn't matter about the shape of the wand. It's the fact that they will always come out in the most energy efficient shape possible. You see, it takes energy to have corners. And in this case, corners are really hard to make in bubbles. It's actually got to do with something called entropy, or the second law of thermodynamics. It's also why stars behave the way they do and the universe happens to do what it does. That's all found inside a bubble. Well, I hope you've enjoyed what we've got here. As I said, I will have some downloadable worksheets that you can use to actually make your own bubble mix and make your own wand. I hope you have a bit of fun while still indoors, and when we're back in the libraries, if you want to come up and chat with me and talk a little bit more about this or other recipes that we know of, then I'm more than happy to take those questions. Until then, look after yourself, keep washing your hands, and keep asking questions. See you later. Bye.